destruction, a microwave approach, focusing on stalkers one by one.
Coming in from every single angle. There's a time warp, but look at this concave, this crescent moon.
The fight. This is what's going to happen now. The supply goes in Hunt's favor.
He's just gonna barrel through, take out whatever. So much pile here coming towards.
Looking like Nesty is going to take it here.
Dancing the roaches a little bit. Scarlet.
Now the Hydras are exposed. Those mutas are going to die, and it's not really going to make that much of a difference for GG.
Welcome to the WCS America Premier League. I'm axslav, and with me is currently nobody because Axel Toss is on a little bit of a vacation right now, but schamtoo will be in here shortly to help me cast. Of course, right now we're in the middle of the round of 32 group stage. That's 8 groups with 4 people in each group. These groups comprise of many of the top talent from the Americas, as well as some great players from Korea, and of course Newt from Norway and Moonglade from Australia. Quick recap on what we saw last week. Monday we had Group F, and that's where we saw the Root Brethren, Vibe, and Theognis fall to the STC and Snoot. Group number E, of course, we saw, I believe it was Nesty, ran absolutely mad through that group, going 4-0. We saw a great final match where Minigun almost took out Apocalypse to get that number 2 spot to advance to round of 16. Unfortunately, falling barely short to make Nesty and Apocalypse our people advancing to round of 16 from that group. On Wednesday, we saw group number H. Of course, that group was a very exciting group where Illusion narrowly lost to Alicia in the winner's match. Unfortunately, he then fell to Moonglade in the final match to make Alicia and Moonglade our people advancing to the round of 16. Final day of last week was Thursday. On Thursday, we had Hero, Alive, Killer, and Major in what many people considered the group of death for the WCS America round of 32. Killer played a great first match against Alive, taking him out 2-1. But unfortunately, he then fell in the final match, making Hero and Alive the people to advance. That brings us to today. We're going to have Group D. That's Suppy, Ryung, Hello Kitty, and Heart. Our first match today is going to be Suppy versus Ryung. Suppy versus Heart, followed by Hello Kitty versus Ryung. Following that, we're going to have the winner's match. And then we're going to have the loser's match. And then the loser of the winner's match will play the winner of the loser's match in our final match. These 4 players, 2 will advance to round 16, and 2 are going to fall down into the Challenger Division. Our first match, of course, is going to be Suppy versus Heart, and Heart is an insanely good Korean player from the team Axiom. Of course, Axiom, led by Total Biscuit and Jenna Bain, has a lot of great Korean players, and they say that Heart, of course, is one of their better Korean players in international events. He's played in many MLGs and plays very highly in almost every single MLG he's played in. We can see that top 8 in 4 different MLG events, and so he has a lot of experience playing international players like Suppy. Of course, Suppy is no slouch of his own. He's an extremely skilled player, which is even more impressive considering he's a full-time student at UC Berkeley. He's led the Berkeley CSL team to World Championship, and he's placed very highly in last year's global WCS tournament. We actually got a chance to talk with Suppy, and he said a few things about how he feels this group is going to go. He said, all the players are very strong. Heart has some devastating early game aggression, and Scarlet has told him that Ryung is currently the best player in Axiom House. Despite possible low expectations regarding Hello Kitty, he's actually a very solid player with decent macro to back up the myriad amount of all-ins he can throw at opponents. Of course, Suppy and Hello Kitty, both Chinese Americans, they're both showing a lot of support for each other in this group, and Suppy is going to have a very difficult first match against his opponent, Heart. We're just waiting for Heart to join the lobby and we can get right started with the first game. And some things I think we're going to expect in this series is going to be Heart showcasing his crazy early game multitasking aggression. He's got a lot of eccentric builds. They're not quite as eccentric as maybe like Quantic Apocalypse's builds, but he definitely has a lot of potential different attacks he can do. We used to see him do a lot of one-base aggression, but over the last, I'd say, 5-6 months, he's really evolved to wanting to macro aggressively early on, and then utilize his great multitasking to dominate his opponent with drops and solid positional play. The first map is going to be Daybreak. Of course, Daybreak is a very macro-focused map, which is going to be great for Suppy because Suppy is one of those players, he doesn't like to make the game too crazy. What Suppy's key strengths is understanding the perfect unit composition to get, as well as knowing how to play a late game very well positionally. So Suppy's going to look to slow down the game and get to those late game compositions, which he controls very, very well. On the other hand, Hart is probably going to be looking to macro greedily early game and then launch devastating attacks all over the opponent combined with draw play to overwhelm his opponent's multitasking abilities. See if the players are ready. Suppy says he's ready. Is Hart ready? They're both ready. All right, so we'll start the game. Again, first map is going to be Daybreak. It is a best-of-3 series. The winner of this will advance to the winner's match. The loser, though, is not going to be entirely out, as it's a group stage format, so everybody has 2 chances to advance in the group. One thing I think we might see here, on Daybreak, there's a lot of airspace between the main base and of course, there's on the top right, the main base and the top center, and of course, the main base and the bottom left and the bottom center. And Hart's really going to utilize that airspace to threaten Suppy with devastating drop play. Our first player, Axiom Hart, spawning at the top right, is the blue Terran. Of course, his opponent, spawning at the bottom left, will be EG's Suppy. I know a lot of people are cheering on Suppy. It's very, very difficult to do what Suppy's done, and that's, of course, being a full-time university student while playing StarCraft 2 professionally at the same time. He's been the hero for his CSL team. He's been the American hope in last year's WCS tournament. And he's also defeated a lot of great players. We saw him almost take down Partying, in fact, at that last year's WCS 2012 tournament. It looks like Hart might go for Command Center first. That's usually the most common opening on Daybreak. We'll have to wait and see where this SCV goes after builds a depot. If the SCV hangs around, he's going to build a barracks. If he goes back home, he's going for the Command Center first. And this is something you notice in the top levels in Korea. Very few of the top Korean players do medium builds. What I mean by medium build is where they don't really put a lot of aggression, but they also don't macro as hard as possible. The top Korean players realize that their build should be streamlined. It should either say, you know what, if I'm not going to attack my opponent early, why should I do anything but the most greedy macro build? As long as I know it's safe, which of course Command Center first is a very safe opening, and at least versus in TVP and TVZ. And in TVT it's a little risky against early Reapers, which is why I don't see it too often. And we can see Suppy, of course, being well aware of the same theory as a Zerg player. Versus Terran, you always want to go hatchery first. If you go hatchery first, it's better versus early attacks because you have the extra larva and creep at your natural. And also it's better macro-wise because you can use said larva to get a lot of extra drones. Suppy's going for an extractor directly after a spawning pool. That means he's going to want to utilize speed leans early in the matchup. It's a good thing for Hart that, of course, he's going to be more than ready to defend his speed leans. As a Terran player, even if you go Command Center first, there's almost no way a Zerg player can cross the map and attack you before you can get units. If you open with a very fast spawning pool, of course, the Zerglings could be at your base right now, but with a solid wall and like Hart's made, he's going to be totally safe. Going to single gas, he's likely to follow up his barracks with probably a factory, although I think he's going to get a few Marines first, or even potentially a Reaper. Doesn't have quite enough gas to get that factory out quite yet. There goes the first Marine. He's actually just sitting out to hunt down that Overlord. Oh, this is kind of interesting. Going to bunker this far out. This is something that's kind of new. I remember in Wings of Liberty, everyone used to put their bunkers kind of further back, like back by the minerals over here or something like that. And the reason why is so that it's harder for Zerglings to get that surround. But nowadays, I think Terrans aren't quite as afraid of speedlings, knowing that, okay, I've got some Widow Mines early, they can't really mess around with speedlings too much. Suppy taking his drones off gas as soon as he starts Zergling speed. Trying to kill these plates. This is something actually everyone should do. Always go ahead and kill these plates at the bottom of your ramp once you get the opportunity, because it can be so annoying when you're in the middle of battle, when you're trying to kill those things. If you accidentally misclick, their units, instead of attacking the enemy, they all go after that location. Also, just if you want to build a building there later, it's always great. In fact, normally the Terrans kill it as well. I think Hart's just blamed a little bit. Oh, look at this. A fast third CC. And he's putting it right where Suppy can see it. This is very brazen. I've actually almost never seen a Terran build a 3rd CC in this location. Normally, it's either they're like going to build it super greedy right to 3rd and just say, well, whatever, I'm just going to do what I want. Or they're going to put it in the main where the Zerg won't scout it quite as fast. But Heart's saying, you know what? I don't mind if he sees me doing this. I just want to have the strongest wall possible, so I can't die to anything early. Of course, there goes those Hellions. They're going to be a great scouting tool. Tech Lab on the barracks will probably get stemmed shortly. Suppy, of course, seeing the fast 3rd from his opponent, is going to get a fast 3rd as well. Nothing but drones being produced from Suppy, so he's not going to try to punch the fast 3rd with anything crazy yet. There's not really too much he can do. I mean, there's some attacks. If he was already going for Roach attack, that would be pretty strong, but that's a decision he had to make before he saw a 3rd command center go down, so it's not something you can do reactively. I actually see a lot of players lose from trying to counter their opponent's build reactively, and then their counter just isn't streamlined at all. Whereas, you know, it's better to do, if you have your own streamlined build and your opponent does something, just make small modifications to react to them. But don't, like, try to totally change your build on the fly unless you're very, very, very experienced. Oh, 20 speedlings going around. These 2 Hellions, if they don't meet up with some friends, could be in trouble. Where are those speedlings at? Double Evo chamber wall. As Zerg, typically, if you get your 3rd early, you know you're going to have to get a lot of low-tech units like speedlings and roaches to defend. And so you want to prioritize upgrading those units as opposed to teching it, as you're going to get some of those low-tech units anyway. Oh, Hellions running down the speedlings. Is he setting up a trap? No, he's just going to run. I thought he was going to send more speedlings behind and try to set up a 2-way flank, but instead he just runs a lap around the Hellions. Let some of his speedlings get burnt. One guy gets home to tell a tale, and he's going to say, hey guys, there's a lot of Hellions out there. Better be careful. And then they're all going to hide by the Evo chamber. Of course, it's not most effective hiding. Of course, you always want to control as many watch towers as you can. That's why Heart's keeping his Hellions here. Because then, the thing with Hellions against speedings, the Terran player needs to be able to move those Hellions to instant speeding start going first round. So having a watch tower gives you the extra vision so you can react a little bit faster. Oh, yep, exactly. You know, if you react like 1 or 2 seconds slower than Heart did, you can end up getting surrounded. You see Heart feels confident moving his 3rd base to his 3rd. We don't mind there as well. Adding a lot of additional barracks. He's got double engineering base upgrading as well. Both players' upgrades are very similarly timed. So we're going to see a very even game upgrade-wise. Heart is starting to add more Widow Mines, looking to go for that Bio-Widow Mine composition. Whereas Suppy, he's getting upgrades, he's getting speedings, he's getting a Baleen Nest. But based on the amount of drones he's getting, 62 drones, I don't think he's going to go for one of those mass speeding baiting attacks. Normally you get a few less drones. Yeah, exactly. Going for the Spire. So he is not looking to do some like crazy speeding baiting lifestyle bust. Normally Zergs stop at 50 drones if they're going to do that because you don't need quite as much economy if you're not going to get those meatless. And also, of course, that attack, you want to hit your opponent before they get too many units. So you don't need all that many drones. Going up to a lot of drones, though, usually signifies the willingness to get more expensive units. Mulists and fasters, you know, whatever your favorite tech path is. Looking for the surround. Suppy's got to be very careful because his Widow Mine's getting further and further out in the map. Widow Mines are being used as spot for speedings, and of course, if Suppy's not careful, he can end up losing a lot of units just to a single Widow Mine. Suppy realizing Widow Mines are a grave threat. He's going to go ahead and get Overlord speed, and that importantly helps the Overseers move faster, and Overseers have to keep up with your army and avoid the enemy Marines to help you spot those Widow Mines. Taking out the rocks as he takes his 4th base in the middle center is Suppy. Using Overlords to spot for potential drop play. But as I said, you know, Heart used to be known for crazy early aggression. But over the last several months, he's decided, you know what? I'm going to use my multitasking, but I'm going to macro up like crazy first, and then I'm going to start doing my drop play. And that way, this drop, it doesn't need to do serious damage, right? Heart's got a great economy. His upgrades are going well. So he's just trying to get something done, but if it fails, it's not the end of the world for him. Oh, the Widow Mine gets down! Only getting a couple Zergians there. And actually, this medevac is probably going to die when the Mulists come out. Of course, it can use Ignite Afterburns, but this far across the map, it's unlikely it's going to really escape for long. Oh, there are the Mulists. Yeah, he's going to give up. Try to land off a few Marines, maybe get a little bit of damage done before he dies. Meanwhile, pushing out through the front with some Hellions. Not a very big army, though. Kind of strung out. He's trying to distract Suppy on the top side, while another drop. Actually, that's those 2 Widow Mines heading around the bottom. Really trying to take control of the map, putting Widow Mines absolutely everywhere. These guys, though, they're scuttling right in front of the Zerg. Bold Widow Mines. Another drop, or another something was over there. Suppy going for the big surround. Oh, the Baneling's not getting the connects they need to. And Suppy's forced to retreat, losing a few Mutalists. Widow Mines really took a big chunk out of that Baneling force there. And these Widow Mines, they're still not cleaned up. No, the Mutalists, Suppy, be careful. Suppy taking some big blows from the Widow Mines. Hart adding in a second factory. He's probably going to get a tech lab on that and get the drilling claws upgrade for the Widow Mines. Meanwhile, he's massing up more forces on the top. Suppy's been losing so many Banelings. You can see here placing him with 11 Banelings, 2 Infestors in production. Once those Infestors get out, that's going to make it much, much easier to have those Banelings connect with the opponent. But until then, it's going to be very difficult to stop Hart from just kiting backwards and using the Widow Mines to their maximum potential. You can see there Suppy trying to use a few of those Widow Mine shots on those Speedings, but Hart takes out the Speedings before the Widow Mines are activated. Hart still posturing over the top. He's trying to poke in here, but he doesn't want to commit too far on the creep because Zerg units move so much faster on the creep. And especially Marines versus Banelings, it's very dangerous to go on the creep. Big stem forward. He's scanning. I thought he was going to stop a couple creep timbers, but he doesn't. And now Suppy has that Infestor out. Of course, not getting Pathing Glands quite yet because he only wants to get a few Infestors. So he's going to have to wait a little bit before he has that fungal growth available. Hart's inching forward. Drop plays going across the bottom. Hart's going to... Oh, Suppy's found a drop. Mutalists have zeroed in. Spore Crawl there as well. Looks like Suppy should defend this without too many problems. That's a big win for Suppy. Hart saying, okay, our Mutalists are at the bottom. I'm going to send a drop play on the left side. Mutalists actually not quite cleaning it up, but the Queens and Speedy should be more than enough. Queens on top of that drop as well. Hart trying to push it through the middle, but then Infestors, oh! A whiff fungal growth. Getting a couple of Medivacs. Meanwhile, drop on the left side. Speedlings cleared that up as well. Suppy, great defense so far. Ultralists are on the way, but he's got to hold off with his frontal attack. Oh, another whiff fungal. He just needs one of these fungals to connect in a big way, and then some Banelings can follow that up. But these 4 Widow Mines are going to be very difficult to break. But now Hart's moving some units up here. Hart's so careful not to go too far down the ramp. He doesn't want to get too far on the creep. 2 Widow Mines being used up there, one of them going down. Ultras coming closer to closer, coming out. Big fungals go down. The Banelings are connecting. Oh, but a nice little attack there by Hart, pulling back most of the units. He's still trying to micro, but I think Suppy has enough. I think he's going to be just fine. And remember, Hart, no 4th base yet. Suppy taking the 5th. Oh, the bio, it's getting so low. It's getting cornered. Baneling summon in there. Hart picks up just in the nick of time to get out of there. But he's landing, and the Ultras are right on top of him. Hart in full retreat. Suppy pushing forward with the spiked Carapace Ultras. Those guys, very intimidating, man. Very, very intimidating. Hart, not enough extra units to use any drop play. Suppy shut down every single drop throughout this game. Suppy's looking in great position right now. Very intelligent decision by Suppy to back away once he realizes Hart has no 4th base. All Suppy has to do is defend, add an additional stack defense to make sure that his Ultras can always be in the main battle and never have to worry about the drop play. This is something very important for Zerg players. As you go to Hive, use more and more stack defense. Your army gets more cost efficient with Fungals and Ultras, but it gets less mobile, so drops are a greater threat. Oh, Hart striking before too much stack defense gets their Infestors on the case. I think Suppy should be okay, but Hart's also pushing forward through the middle. The Ultras are scared. There's Widow Mines and Marauders, and there's not enough Zergings to support them. Fungals go down to push Hart back. You know, the drop play is still going in a big way. Only 1 medevac left. The spawning pool is going to go down. Hart harassing with an SCV at the top left. That top left base is going to go down, but Suppy, meanwhile, has cleaned up the drop plane and made minimal losses there. Top left hatchery dodge, but Suppy is still surviving. 4 bases versus 3. The army's cornered. Oh, the fungal misses. Oh, but that one hits. Can Suppy chain together enough fungals to kill the medevacs? No, but Hart ditches the units. He lands them all, and it's a graveyard. Nothing but dead units there. Now Suppy with a 30 supply advantage. Hart desperate to take a 4th. He's got to defend his middle base because he's running out of economy. He's been unable to put Suppy to 3 bases. A speeding run by gets shut down. Great bunker placement by Hart. Another drop to try to re-cancel his 5th hatchery. Very intelligent, dropping outside the shadows so he can have his full units ready. Trying to clear an overload here at the bottom. Medevacs having a party over here. now joined by some more units. Heart has a very high medevac count. This top left base is going to be canceled. But the big story is, can Heart defend his 4th base? Suppy has now spotted it. Suppy just still on defensive duty, going for Greater Spire, Burrow upgrade, level 3 attack on the way. Heart, of course, is at 3-3 on his bio. Suppy now equalizing at 3-3 on the melee and carapace for his ultras and speed leads. A good number of queens here. Heart has got to be so careful about these fungal growths. Just picking off the creep. Of course, it's very important for Terran to keep the creep away from their army. Almost the biggest thing at this point that creep affects is the infestor move speed. If the infestors can move fast, they can really catch up to the bio and land those fungals in a bigger way. Top left being denied yet again by Heart. Heart being so careful with his army, making sure not to get too far in the creep. Now he's going to try to cancel some creep timbers. One Ultranus leads a charge. Oh, there's so many Widow Mines. If Suppy can bring an Overseer. Oh, Ultranus, be careful. He's got to be so careful with those infestors. Widow Mine's going off on infested Terrans. Widow Mine's being very ineffective there. A single Ultras almost goes down, but every single Widow Mine gets cleaned up here. Heart keeping Suppy busy, while really the big threat is a triple drop in the main. Suppy never rebuilt that sack defense he had in the main. Only one spore and one spine. But Suppy crushing through. The planetary is trying to be repaired, but there's too many Ultras. Heart needs that mine base. He loses it. Trying it on the top left again with a drop. The main hive will go down. But you know, Suppy can keep most of his tech alive. I think he's going to be happy. He's already rebuilding the Spire and Ultras Cavern. Very fast reaction. Fungals go down to lock down those medevacs. 5 Overseers come in, but they're not so effective on their own. Infestors going down. Is the hive going to fall? Meanwhile, Heart again pushing in the middle to very little success. The hive's under fire. At this point, though, Suppy's already started rebuilding. Layers on the way. Spire, Ultras Cavern. The hive does go down, but Suppy cleans it up. Remember, Heart lost his 4th base. Heart only has his 3rd base mining. He's going to starve out. Very low bank for Heart. Suppy's pushing forward. Suppy still has a huge army. Even though he's been losing bases, he's been trading so effectively in these engagements, he hasn't had to replace as many units. 4 more Infestors on the way. I love how Infestor heavy he's going. You don't actually need that many Ultras as long as you land those fungals. Using Speedies and Spore Cores to defend. Oh, nice. Oh, misses a little bit of fungal there. Heart distracting to get into main while he pushes through the middle. If Heart can take out the 4th of Suppy, that's what he needs to really get back in this game. Or just take his own 4th, that'll work too. Oh, Beatty's and Ultranus going in on their own. But here come the Infestors. Heart backing away. He's going to heal up his units. Heart, meanwhile, trying to crank out more and more Widow Mines. Suppy's really been able to keep that Widow Mine count low throughout the game. That's very, very important. If a Terran can collect enough Widow Mines, even Ultras can all of a sudden be very, very sad about running into that Widow Mine pack. Suppy clearing up top left. Heart retaking a planetary at the middle right. Heart's natural, almost mined out. Heart's main, mined out. Heart's 3rd, kind of running low. He's got to hold the 4th base. Suppy with a big bank. Suppy, though, he was going Greater Spire for a potential Broodlord transition. Unfortunately, he lost his hive and Greater Spire. He rebuilt the Spire, but he cannot turn the Spire into a Greater Spire until he rebuilds that hive. Heart, another big drop in the main. No sack defense, just a single Spore Crawler. There's not too much tech there, but what Heart's really trying to do is distract Suppy in the main, trading some units off. And meanwhile, he's moving across the top. Spore Crawler gets a few shots off, goes down. Suppy being afraid to overcommit to this attack over here. Wants to keep the top left alive. Speedies are going to probably clean up that drop. Meanwhile, oh, Widow Mines. Be careful, Suppy. One Ultra just volunteers himself. Takes a couple big hits. Falls in a pile of gore along with some change-ins. Suppy, nice infested Terran harassment the 4th. Heart, though, keeps the planetary alive. That's a big story. Oh, the drop is still alive. The 3 Marauder bros hanging together. Meanwhile, top left, another attack by Heart. Cleaned up by Suppy. Mass changelings going down. I think they're probably were there to pass the units. An interesting technique there. Find Overseers on top, even the pass. Infestation pick goes down. Suppy will want to rebuild that. Heart with a quick pickup. I keep thinking this is a bunch of blue on the minimap, but it's just changed things. Heart, his medevac count has been getting depleted, and he hasn't been rebuilding them. Going forward, he's going to have to watch out for chain fungals. Dropship being cleaned up here again. No, picking up very fast. Heart pushing through the middle. Very Marauder heavy. This is where Suppy would really want to start reproducing, focusing on the Broodlord transition potentially. Suppy still with a huge bank, though. He's been mining from 4 bases pretty much the entire game. Dropship being on over there, over the top. Another dropship pushing forward. Hart really starting to press his attack. He knows if he keeps Suppy on the back foot, he can go ahead and mine that 4th base, which is what he needs to do to regather his economy. Both players maxed out, but Suppy with a bigger bank. Infestor's got to be careful, but all those widow mines have been activated. Ultra is clearing it up. Again, Suppy keeping the widow mine count very low. Rebuilding the infestation pit. That will allow him to go to Spire. These 2 Marauders from the beginning. 5 kills, 9 kills. Trying to get a queen. Not going to quite get it. Hart again pushing over the top. That's a lot of APM going down to kill the Changelings. Changelings paying themselves off. This Widow, this Medivac is flying over there. It does. Flying over the army. More Widow mines being used up. Great fumbles by Suppy. The Ultimate has come forward. If Hart gets crushed here, Suppy can move right on to the 4th base. Hart is being massacred down by 50 food. No bank to repopulate. Trying to go to Ravens, but they're not going to be on time. Suppy's crushing forward here. He smells blood to water. If this planetary falls, Hart will no longer be able to continue mining. Ultra's getting a great spread there, not wanting to be funneled as they kite through. Planetary being focused. Fungal's going down on the army. Suppy pushing forward. Fungal after Fungal going down. Hart's force is being massacred. GG. Suppy takes down game number 1 in a convincing. That was a freaking insane game. It was a great game though. I really love that game. Suppy just showing great use of the fungal growth throughout that series. He built sack defense to really hold the drops in the mid game. Kept his 4th base alive throughout most of the game. But really, his ability to keep the widow mine count low and then consistently land these fungals on a Terran army. Yes, he missed 1 or 2 here and there, but with enough infestors, he always had some extra ones backed up, and all it takes is 1 or 2 big fungals, and Ultras just swarmed in there and knocked Hart out of the game. Hart never able to get a 5th base. Really struggled to take a 4th base in that game. Really impressive by Suppy. That's going to wrap up game number 1. We'll be here in game number 2 in this best of 3 series after a short break.